Hi, everybody. Welcome aboard. Thank you so much for joining. We really appreciate it. It's been kind of a rough week for us and in Israel. And this week between Yom HaShoah and Yom HaZikaron is a really difficult week for everybody. And we chose this week because we felt that it was a fitting time to kind of go through an overview of what we've been doing, what we've done, what we've been able to do with your help, and hear from some of our soldiers, officers, doctors, and medics that you all have been helping over the past 7 months about their experience, what we've been able to do for them, and what their current needs are so that we can continue to help them as much as we can. So just really quick overview. I think everybody knows who I am already. Most of you know Ro'i. Ro'i is in charge of all of our sourcing and verification. So he works with the units to make sure that the needs are accurate, and he works with the vendors to get the best prices and does all the purchasing. So really, he's working super hard. Smadal manages our entire operation in Israel. Smadal, say hi. And I'm going to let them all introduce themselves. Smadal manages our Israeli operation. So basically, she accepts all the gear, all the equipment. She receives everything. She counts it. She puts it into inventory. She manages the system to make sure that inventory is accurate. And she packs it and creates the distributions for the units and makes sure that everything arrives to the units. Isabella is our medical director. She works with all the doctors in the field to make sure that she understands their medical gear needs and helps us source and understand what we need to buy and how to buy it and how to use it and how to train people on how to use it and all that really complicated stuff. So I'm going to give them the stage so they can introduce themselves. Roy, why don't you go first?
Sure. So, as Adi said, I'm Rory. What I do is the sourcing, like when we want to purchase an item. Um, my role is to find the best way to do it. The best way means that we are looking for the best price and for the best supplier. So I do the sourcing. Basically, it's not all over the world, but it's in like 3, 4 countries. Um, so this is about the sourcing, and I talk to units to understand their needs, um, and to decide what to source. Like in order to decide what items we want to purchase, we need to understand the needs first. So I talk to soldiers, I talk to commanders, and then I decide what to purchase and do this sourcing. Um, that's it basically. Oh, and I also prioritize the requests and verify them because we want to make sure that we deliver to the most needed units and most relevant units, and not just I don't know, first come first serve. Um, that's it.
All right, perfect. Smadal, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what your life looks like in the past 7 months?
Well, hi, I'm Smadal, as they said. I'm basically the person that does everything in Israel, mostly going through the bureaucracy and customs and getting all the stuff that descends from the States to Israel. And from there, we actually count everything. And after getting all the lists of distributions from we package the whole packages and help or bring the packages to the units where they are in the south or in the north, or soldiers that come to my house and get the gear and everything straight from my house. So my house basically is a warehouse at the moment. And we have tons of packages and shoes and everything all around the house, especially in the living room, which can get annoying after 7 months. But meeting the soldiers, knowing how much they are, how grateful they are for everything that they're getting. And just today, one of the soldiers came and they said, "You have no idea how helpful this is and what kind of saint you are. And this is not only what we need, but mostly it's very helpful in terms of morale and knowing that people are still, thinking about the soldiers, thinking about us, want to make our lives better and more comfortable, and just the knowledge that people didn't forget the soldiers there and that there's a war and everything. So they're very grateful for that, and especially just knowing that even Jews around the world, are helping and still contributing to this whole effort is an amazing thing for them and for us, which now I get to say thank you very much from the bottom of our hearts, because it's really amazing. It's not a given, and it's an amazing thing. So being part of all this is amazing. So that's mine.
I'm Dr. Isabella. I'm the medical director, as Adi said. I've basically, for the last 7 months, from the beginning, been responsible for the medical component, among other things. At the beginning, it was other things, but the medical component of our operations, specifically talking to medics and doctors and soldiers on medical units and understanding what their medical needs are, specifically what equipment they require and how urgent and what the prioritization is of said equipment. And I basically kind of did what Roy does, but in the medical realm, finding suppliers in Israel, in the United States, in Germany, even occasionally, and finding the best prices. So cross-referencing suppliers and quality of equipment and pricing, and then forwarding it to the team for purchasing. And like Smadal said, we are very, very thankful for your contributions, because they've enabled us to send tactical and medical equipment to save lives, to help our soldiers.
All right, great. Thank you so much, Isabella. I just wanted to say that Isabella's based in New Jersey, same town that I am, and Roy is based in Boston, and I'm right now in Boston, but in a different place, and Smadal is in Israel. And I wanted to recognize a couple of other people that are a major part of this operation. There are countless volunteers and people that are doing a lot of work every day, and we don't have the time to recognize each and every one of them, but I do want to recognize a few. We have Shani and Rachel on the call that are doing a lot of the back office work. We have Tomer, who is helping with coordinating volunteers in Israel. We have Shmaya and Dudi, who are basically family members. Mine and Roi's family members are all, attached to this operation, and Smadal's family members. So all of them are packing, shipping, moving, and doing all of these things on the ground. So there are lots and lots of volunteers that have helped over the last few months, and I just want to make sure that they are recognized and that we thank them. So appreciate that. All right. Of course, none of this would be possible without our donors, and our donors are the ones that made all of this possible for us to do. And it was important for us to recognize. A lot of you wanted to remain anonymous, and we totally respect that, and we appreciate your help. But we really, really wanted to give a shout out to some of the donors that have really, really made this possible. So really appreciate it. You know who you are. I know some of you are on the call. If you're okay with us mentioning your name, just let me know, and we will definitely mention your name. There will be some of you received already, and there will be certificates sent out in the mail. We absolutely appreciate your help. None of this would be possible without you. And you're the ones that made this possible, and we were just kind of soldiers in the operation of moving things around and resolving some bureaucracies. But really, without fueling this operation with those donations, none of this could have happened, regardless of any of the talent and goodwill and hard work of any of us. So this is really shout out to the donors, and thank you for everything that you've done. It's really been amazing, amazing. What we've been able to do is really phenomenal, and I hope that we can continue to do it. And I actually hope that we won't need to continue to do it, and there won't be a need, but unfortunately, we're all in this reality together. So we want to talk a little bit about the process. Some of you already know this, but this is really important, and a lot of lessons that we've learned over time have been implemented into this process. The first thing that happens when we get any kind of contact or request from a unit is that there is an online form that we set up. It's on the website that they need to fill out in order for their request to become, kind of formal. And the reason why we need that is because of a lot of compliance reasons for both Israeli law and US law, to make sure that all the gear and all the money is going to the right places. And so the requests have to be documented through the form. And most of the requests need to be made by an officer. And, we're really changing who that is based on each specific scenario. Sometimes we have lone soldiers and individuals that need an item for themselves, and then the request does not need to be made by an officer. But in most cases, especially large requests, and especially requests for expensive gear or medical gear, need to be made by either a doctor or an officer. And so we have a system that's a big spreadsheet that all the requests are going through. We have a team of volunteers that is headed by Roy, where those requests get prioritized based on who the unit is, where they are, what they're doing. And this prioritization is a lot of work. We actually reach out to those officers and doctors and soldiers in person. We have a video call with them. They explain to us what unit they are. Roy has a lot of IDF intelligence background, and a lot of people that are helping with understanding the different operations of the different units in this ongoing situation. And so selecting the priorities is really difficult. Sometimes we have to make very tough decisions, but we are trying to do the best that we can in really channeling the money and channeling the gear to where it's needed the most, to the people that are in the most danger, that are really risking their lives, that have the most impact. And that's really difficult. So that's a huge piece of the process. After that comes the verification. Verification is another piece of the process. And I'm sure a lot of you have heard that, even yesterday there was a story that came out. There is a lot of fraud and scams and all kinds of things that are happening around the big kind of donation, amazing operation that has kind of spurred up in Israel since the beginning of the war. And we are very, very lucky that because of those processes, we really have not fell victim, not even once, to any of these scams that are happening out there. They're happening a lot. We are in touch with a lot of other organizations. A lot of them are falling victims to scams. And one of the reasons why our process is so important is that so we do not spend any money at all on anything that doesn't really reach where it's supposed to reach. So we do the verification. There is a whole process of verifying who the units are, where they are, who the commanding officers are. Do they really need what they need? We have sort of a 360 process to do that, and Roy can explain a little bit more about that. After we verify and we prioritize, Roy's team puts into the system a distribution order, which basically means this order is approved for distribution. And Smadal's team gets that distribution order, and they send out a physical agreement, a DocuSign sort of agreement to the officer. Those officers need to sign that document, basically saying that they are who they say they are, their identification information, and that they commit to, use the equipment for the purpose that it's been provided to them for, that they are not allowed to sell it, that they are not allowed to transfer it to anybody else without our permission. And if there is no immediate operational need for it in the field, that equipment is going to come back to us. Some specific types of gear like night vision or whatever, we do not really donate to them. We sort of loan to them. So if they come out of the area where they're fighting, they need to return it, and then we assign it to another unit that's fighting. And after that is signed, Smadal's team packs up the packages, distributes them to the many volunteers. We have there's a warehouse next to Jerusalem. There's another volunteer area in Modi'in. We have several physical areas where equipment is being distributed from. They pack the equipment and distribute it to the field. Either the soldiers sometimes come and pick it up, and in many cases we have volunteers that are driving up north or down south to distribute the equipment. Some information about the impact that we've been able to make over the past 7 months. It's really hard to believe it's been 7 months. So these are just some images of some happy distribution moments that you can see, but really we have assisted over 400 units. And when I say units, it could be anything from a battalion, a brigade, or a smaller unit. Many of them are much larger units. We've touched over 22,000 individual soldiers. We distributed over 3,000 orders, and an order is usually a large collection of items. We delivered over 35,000 items. 5,000 of those almost are medical supplies. And we've managed to raise, and you contributed a little over $8 million. Unfortunately, our ability to supply versus the demand and the requests is very small. As you can see, it's about 10%. We have requests over 300,000 items, and we've been able to deliver 35,000. These are just some numbers of very popular items that we've delivered: tactical flashlights, ski masks, tactical boots. And these items really range in cost. The flashlights are around $30. The boots are around $150. The ballistic eyewear are somewhere between $50 and $60. So like each of these items has a different cost. And so these are some of the items. We also focus on medical and strategic gear, which is a lot more expensive, thousands and tens of thousands of dollars. So, drones, night vision gear. We provided underground motion kits for the tunnels, medical equipment like video laryngoscopes that some of the doctors are going to talk about how they're using, portable cardiac monitors, capnometers, and portable smart ultrasound devices and EZ-IO devices that are used to create a line axis in a difficult situation in the field. So those are some of the larger items that we've been able to supply. Unfortunately, donations have slowed down dramatically. And as you can see, sort of in February and March, there was a little bit of a lull in the demand as well, but the demand is going up. We don't have May numbers in here, but in May, in the last week, we've received 600 new requests. So there are new requests from this week, and the graph is going to go up significantly. Unfortunately, donations are not. So the donations pretty much stopped completely in April and May, and we really need your help, or they really need your help in continuing to being able to do what we've been doing, what we've all been doing, which is really great. So I think these graphs speak for themselves, and unfortunately, May numbers are the demand numbers are very, very high. Some notable achievements. We've been able to distribute over 2,500 ceramic vests and plate sets in the beginning of the war. We are able to manufacture independently some items that are very costly to really reduced costs. So that's something that Rui has been doing, really working with manufacturing facilities to make some items so that we can reduce the cost. We've helped the anti-terrorism unit build their training school and help them equip with their lab with the tools that they need to remove the GPS components from the drone so that the drones cannot be followed. We have donated over 100 major medical devices, and the most important thing is that we've saved countless lives. We have been receiving anecdotal evidence on a regular basis, at least once or twice a month, from an actual person that told us this thing saved a life, this thing saved someone's life. And so you're going to hear some of these stories today, and I think that's why we're here. And we should all be very, very proud that we are able to save people's lives like that, because that's incredible. And I'm sure you all know this sentence, Kol hametzil nefesh achat miYisrael כאילו הציל עולם מלא. Anyone who saves a life is like they saved the entire world. And so we've saved a lot of lives here. And we have a lot of people that owe your donations, owe their lives to your donations. And that's something that, we can all just take with us and be very proud of.
Hello.
So before I start, I will move over the program to our soldiers that are here to talk to us and tell us about their experiences. So we're going to turn it over to our speakers, and we're going to start with someone who can't be with us today. Unfortunately, he's been drafted this week to go back into fighting, but it was very important to him to share this video with us.
Hello to Operation Israel, and hello to all of its donors within the US. First of all, before I dive into details and before I introduce you myself and the way Operation Israel helped us in the past 6+ months through your help, I want to really sorry for not being able to join to this Zoom tonight. Unfortunately, we have some schedule in the unit, so I could not join, but it was very important to me to make this video beforehand in order to really thank you for everything that you are doing, also for our unit, but also to the entire country and the entire IDF. As someone who has been living in Israel, but also have been living abroad a few years ago, it's so exciting to see how Jewish people from all over the world is just jumping into helping Israel in these difficult times. For me, it truly gives me the feeling that we are all in this together, and it's one battle that we all fight. We fight it here in Israel, and I'm sure all of you is like dealing with it in the US and in North America while dealing with anti-Semitism. So I really want to show you my appreciation and to thank you for being here with us and wanting to help. So my name is Matan Deshain. I am 20 years old. I've just finished my accounting degree just a few months ago, and on October 7, of course, I've jumped into my unit, which is Yahalom unit. In English, Yahalom unit is called SOEU, which is Special Operation Engineering Unit. For those of you who doesn't know, Yahalom unit have 4 main abilities. The first one is the one I've been at, is the EOD ability, which is Explosive Ordnance Disposal. The second one is the tunnel company, which dealing with all of the tunnels within Gaza and also in the north a few years ago. The third one is the mining company, which is the most experienced in the army to deal with mining field. And the last one is nuclear, the company that's supposed to deal with nuclear weapon when it comes. We hope it won't, obviously. But these are the 4 main companies within the unit. So as you could understand, probably our unit is dealing with the most complicated situations and scenario within this war in Gaza, within Iron Sword War, and also on Protective Edge back in 2014, due to the fact that we are dealing with the complicated abilities that Hamas and any terror organization is trying to hit us by, which is explosive devices, or which is like tunnels, or combining of both. So our unit is super important in the past few years, and I had the privilege to be serving there for 4 years as an EOD commander and the sergeant of a team. And today I want to tell you a bit about what Operation Israel has done for us during this war. Since October 7, when we all jumped up to our unit, my role personally is a board member and the CFO of Yalom Foundation. So obviously Yalom Foundation has jumped into Yalom base in order to help with all the civilian stuff that we could have helped to our unit. And by doing that, we obviously got in touch and got in contact with many CCs, such as Operation Israel, which was truly amazing and was super supportive. I've been in touch with Roy and Smadar in Israel and Tomer and just everyone. And besides the fact that they were looking to help in any way all the time, they was super interested of how can they help. So just part of the equipment we've got a tactical magnifier, which is super helpful while fighting because it helps you see the image and the target much better. It helps you recognize whether it's a terrorist or maybe an IDF soldier, which is, as you can imagine, very, very important. They helped us also purchasing like camera with night vision abilities that helped us recognize and understanding what it looks like inside the tunnels in Gaza Strip, which was truly amazing. Seriously, I think they've helped us purchasing the newest camera that the military could not purchase itself due to procedures and bureaucracies that the military is facing with, which is also like such an important note for your help and for all of the civilian organizations such as Operation Israel for their help, because sometimes the military cannot purchase something due to this bureaucracy, and the civilian organization can help with this kind of thing, which is amazing. Operation Israel helped us with shoes and coat and everything that was needed, seriously everything, with some unique tools to our weapons. And I could not thank you, all of you, Operation Israel and you, that with you they were able to do it more than I thank you, seriously. So as far as I know today, the needs of the military are like tactical magnifiers is truly amazing, and like if any soldier in Israel would have it in our unit, it would be so much helpful, and I'm sure it would save so many lives. And just the regular stuff and like as coats and shoes, which is always needed because this thing is being like thrown away after a while inside the war. But I think the biggest thing that I want to tell you today is seriously, thank you for supporting us. I wish that you could have could keep supporting us as much as you can, but even just the fact that you are thinking about us and willing to help and wanting to help is just super exciting for me. And I feel grateful and I feel lucky to be Jewish just because of people like you. So thank you.
All right, that was amazing. Thank you to for sending this over to us, and we're going to move on to our next speaker.
All right. Sorry. I left hi everyone. My name is. I'm combat. I'm on the regular days. I'm an anesthesiologist in Hadassah, and in the army I serve as a reserve soldier in the commando brigade, serving in southern front of the war. And now, in the last few months, I'm heading the paratroopers brigade, the paratroopers patrol battalion in the work, in the missions during the war. So in the morning of October 7th, like many other soldiers, I took my motorbike. Yeah, sorry, you want to say something? Sorry for that. I left him when he was 2 months years old, and now he's 10 months, and he wants my תשומת לב. Sorry, can you see the people there? Say hello. So on October 7th, I left everything behind and I rushed away to the south to help injured people, to trying to save victims from the massacre. I want to tell you about one of the soldiers that I met there. One of the injured soldiers, his name is Nir. Nir was shot by an AK-47 automatic rifle. Automatic rifle. Nir is Samgad. Samgad is a vice commander of the battalion of battalion 30th of Golani. So when I reached him, his face was deformed, covered by a soot, had brain matter exposed. I thought in this moment, I thought that he is lost. But something stopped me from giving up. He was barely breathing with a severe lack of oxygen reaching his brain. He needed a life-saving procedure of intubation, insertion of a breathing tube to his wine pipe. The doctors that arrived to Nir before me, they were poorly equipment. They trying to perform it, but they failed. But thanks God, when I left my home, I took everything I could find in my home in the aspect of medical equipment. So I took like a supermarket, a big plastic bag, and I inserted everything that I found, medications, equipment, everything. So I bring it with me, and I success to intubate Nir, and we transfer him to the air ambulance, to the helicopter, and they took him to Sheba Medical Center. After a few months, I had a leave, and I decided to visit Nir. I couldn't believe it. I thought that he's totally gone, and I found him in the rehabilitation, walking, understand, partly talking. Just spoke 2 hours ago with his wife, and Nir is doing great. They have like a long run to take Nir to the next steps. But I'm happy that I did what I did, and that Nir can go back to his 2 little children and grow them up. But Nir case was a turning point for me. I want to do everything in my power so no soldier will die because of lack of medical equipment. As his mother told me, Nir's mother, she told me, never give up a patient. So thanks your great donation, and I just now see like the big picture, and I see that the operation is really great. You gave like a lot of equipment, not only the medical equipment, but also the other equipment that you give a soldier. This is unbelievable in the aspect of in terms of life-saving equipment. So the video laryngoscope, the Foley catheter, the same kits are wonderful and help us in every case that that we have injured people and need this equipment. A few months into the war, we're still missing crucial equipment to save the critically injured, like Neil. With the threat of ground operation in Lebanon, the prospect of going deeper into Gaza, like we see in the last 2 days in Rafah, we need to address the need of prolonged evacuation time of critically injured soldiers. The most pressing need that in my unit we need, we don't have like, we are in the field, we don't have like vehicles that take the equipment. We need to carry everything on our backs. So right now I'm working out to find out money and rise up money for a cardiorespiratory monitor. Which is very important in the field, because in the field you have a very little time to make a decision. When we met an injury soldier and get this crucial decision on the battlefield, you need to monitor the soldier. So it's about $7,000 US for one monitor, and we need 2 of them. So I hope that we'll find people here to help with this. In addition, the other things that I need is the EasyIO that you were talking about earlier. Sorry about that. The other thing is so EasyIO, and also EasyIO is a machine that helps us, is a device that helps us to give to blood, to insert a needle actually into the bone, into the interosseous, and bring in a blood as soon as possible. My friend did it in the last few months. He gave blood. I think it's the first time that someone in the field giving blood through this device. And we need also things like that. And the last thing that we looking for right now is suction. Electric suction. In the commando, we had a very bad case of a soldier that come, and the equipment that the army gave us didn't make the work. They couldn't suction his mouth. And unfortunately, this soldier died. So we understand that we need better equipment. And for the IDF, it's very hard to buy the things in very little time. They usually needs like months or years to decide what to buy and when, where to buy. And with the help of the operation, we find out that we can get things very quickly behind all the bureaucratics. And thanks to your donations, we see that every day that you help us saving life. I hope that in this webinar we'll find a way. We'll find a way to rise up more money for more equipment, as you said before, כל מציל נפש אחת מישראל, כאילו הציל עולם מלא, so thank you.
Thank you so much for telling us this incredible story. The story of Nir is very moving, and I have chills just hearing you talk about it, thinking as a mother, as a parent to, you know, a kid this age, and just the thought of something like that being the difference between life and death, between a child being alive and not, and that's just amazing. So thank you so much. We appreciate you took the time in coming, and you know, especially when we know that it's bedtime for the little ones.
All right.
All right, we're gonna move on to our next speaker.
So my name, I'm a captain in the reserve unit of Battalion 79. I'm a combat officer, so we're combat unit, infantry together with the tanks. So we're kind of a mixed unit. So I'm gonna just, in short, gonna tell my story and how everything kind of works together, and we got extremely life-saving equipment directly to us, and it saved the life. It saved my life, and it saved one of my soldiers' lives. So we were personally, I was in my big trip after my mandatory service on October 7th. I was on Mount Everest, and October 7th happened, and it was, as they say, balagan, and we had to fly back home, and we were drafted, and everything was kind of crazy all over. And it was mentioned here a few times about the bureaucracy and red tape of the army. So the reservists don't always get the newest and best equipment, and that's a big issue. It's a big issue. So it started with vests and then helmets, and slowly but steady, we did manage to stabilize in some really basic gear. Yet there was still some stuff that we did not get. So eventually, we're talking about 3 weeks in. We're about to start our ground movement into Gaza, and we do not have any eye protection glasses. Now, I was almost a year and a half out of my mandatory service, so I was used to what all the gear I got from the regular army. It's not really regular, just not the reservists. So for me, that was like, no way. That is crucial. My eyes are probably the most vulnerable part of my body, because nothing's protecting it except for, of course, a few millimeters of skin. So together with Smadar and my father, that helped us a lot, we were able to get to all of the platoon eye protection goggles straight into the field. We were on Erez crossing, like the night before we were supposed to cross into Gaza. We got the package, and we were able to get everyone proper protection for their eyes. And thank God for that, because not even 4 days later, myself and my 4 soldiers that were with me in the front team, the way it works is, in the team, I'm the team commander, so I have a smaller group with me, always moving as long as I move forward. We got into an ambush, an IED ambush, where a building exploded while we were entering, and then RPGs and AK-47 shooting at us all in the span of 5 to 7 minutes. Now, we were hurt. I was all injured. We were all injured in different categories and degrees, from shrapnel and gunshot, but nothing in the eyes. We got hit in the face, and you could see on one of my soldiers, you could see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but the eyeglasses saved his eyeball, and he's here because of that, and I'm here because of it, and no one lost, thank God, their eyesight. Unlike other stories where from neighboring units and friends of mine that unfortunately, including in our unit, but in a different platoon where they did not have the right eyeglasses, and one of the officers lost their eye. So in this case, it saved us. It quite literally saved our lives and the vision of one of my soldiers and myself. So it's crucial to say how much the donations are, like it was said again several times, and bureaucracy where sometimes it's just inevitable because that's how big organizations like the IDF and countries and organs stuff like that work. And projects like these actually just are managed to cut underneath it and just get it directly into the soldiers' hands when they need it. And that's why we are extremely grateful for all the donations, and we are fighting to get some more because we still need it. Unfortunately, we're in a situation where the fighting is continuing. It doesn't seem like there's the light in the end of the tunnel quite yet, and there might be a northern front, and it's just going to get harder and crazier, and just more soldiers are going to need more life-saving gear, and that's why we're here today, and that's why we need your support and your help. Keep it up. We appreciate it extremely and deeply, and just know you are saving lives. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you for this. You know, we've heard, or at least I've heard, we're sitting here in the States, some of us, and we're getting some of the messages about, oh, these glasses save the eyesight, but it all sounds very distant and not real until you hear it from someone who's actually there and is talking about it and has seen it, and that really changes everything. Like knowing it and really hearing it from you or from someone who has seen it is a very different thing. So thank you for sharing that with us. And before I start crying, I'm gonna move on. All right, our next speaker is a medical officer in a unit called Dvora.
Okay, sorry about the mask, but we are working in different places. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. I'm also a reservist. I'm over 40. And the story about our unit is that the unit called Dvora is actually a quick response unit stationed in the north in the Galilee. It's a very new unit. It's around 2 to 3 years old. It was initially established to encounter Hezbollah Radwan forces. Their plan was just to storm the border and capture communities in the Galilee. The interesting about this unit is that all of us are reservists that live in the north, and we actually defending literally our home and families, as we did in October 7th, roughly 45 minutes, 7:45 in the morning. Our 4 unit was called up north. The units, especially, is that we keep our weapon and all equipment at home and run for the front line. And we are there ever since. Our families in the last 7 months, we are still in active duty. For the last 7 months, our families are actually living, were displaced and living in temporary housing for the last 7 months. And every one of us is thankful about your donation. I remember that I've contacted Isabella. It was late Friday night in Israel. I was really surprised that she actually answered, and we shared about the needs. The unit itself is a very special unit. We are all infantry special units that live in the area. Our day-to-day routine is more like a SWAT team or response team. Our job is to go ahead, stop any invader, or to clear any houses or communities that were taken, or even military posts that were taken. Our goal is to free them. We use relatively small and fast cars, which means that we cannot carry a lot of equipment, and the normal military gear that are supplies to reservists or any other unit is very big, very bulky. And in the last month, the issue in the north is that we were dealing a lot with mainly anti-tanks missiles, very high performance missiles, which mean that we have no warning, and sometimes you have only seconds to bail out of the vehicle and response. And with the normal equipment that we used to have, we couldn't do it fast enough. I remember after contacting Isabella at night and requesting, we asked your assistant with medical bags, just the bags and some medical equipment. It made me and my medics and the other teams, we felt much safer. Okay, our safeties mainly come with speed. We go fast, move fast, and go back fast, and just the thinking that you won't get stuck in the vehicle trying to get out because of something caught in an object made us feel much better. This is basically it, my experience. I've met Smadar also in some January, very rainy night at her house, and it was very heartwarming that by your donation, people like Smadar, Isabella, Rui, and others literally opened the house for us, and it gave us a really warm sense of community that we actually share as Jewish around the world, share the same, in Hebrew it's called the Arvut Adadit, so I don't know how to translate it, but we got each other back, know where we are on the globe, and just my thanks. And we're still here. Let's see what the future will bring us. That's it.
Wow, thank you very much for this. We really appreciate it. And our next speaker is a very active father.
Okay, good evening, everyone, or good afternoon, it depends where you are. So I will introduce myself with your permission. My name is Zan, and I'm a father of a fighter in the 890 Paratroopers Battalion. I enlisted to help my son's units, and I'm assisting them with obtaining donors and tactical equipment, which they lack in combat since the beginning of the war, and transports and delivers that to them. Basically, everything started in the beginning. The first week was like walking in the dark for me as a father, because I knew my son is in an area in the desert near the Dead Sea named Nabi Musa. So where they were when that's Black Sabbath actually took place. And he sent us a message, a very short message. We are going to war. Everything will be okay. Don't worry. And and then nothing, quiet for 5 days without knowing what's the situation, what's their conditions, how they are they alive. We heard a lot of horrible stories regarding what's happening to other soldiers. And the first thing that caught my attention is like the first time that I had the ability to talk with my son and to understand that there are lack of very basic equipment like bladders, you know, for drinking water. So it was the first time that I heard something regarding what is going on here. Like, why is the question the first time it was like, why is the army as an institute actually not providing that very basic equipment for them? And it's continued coming from the commanders and other soldiers from the units that it was like a velocity of equipment actually run out in a very fast manner. So we needed to get them. At the beginning, it was like 200 bladders, and I turned up the road, like made calls to everyone I knew back then, and started to move myself to search for donors and to search for equipment. And things actually brought me into other things and to know peoples from all over the country and from all over the world. Right now, I can tell you that after 7 months, 7 months of involving, like, I don't think that there is or there are equipment that they actually needed back then and since then, which I didn't do whatever I can to try to find and allocate donors or organizations like Operation Israel to support them with everything they needed. First of all, I would like to say that it is very exciting to know and to see so many people, so many good people, good Jews, but not only, but most of them are Jews from all over the world, helping and donating for the fighters. Most of the time, it was for the battalion in the 890 battalion in the paratroopers, but not only. I would like to say that without your help, Operation Israel, of course, and all the donors, the life of the fighters in such situation was much more difficult in terms of dealing with complex situation. Even so, if to speak, you know, the conditions there in Gaza are extremely difficult for them. So I know that personally for my sons and the units, his units, because I'm in contact with all of the soldiers. I know every one of them in the private names. I know all the commanders, from the smallest one to the highest commander of the battalion. I would like to say something regarding life-saving equipment. The most important, I think, a game changer for them. It's not the smallest one, even though it was very crucial for them, like the weapon flashlights we receive, or the ski mask, or other equipment like shoes or sockers and fleeces or thermal shirts or whatever it was like gold nuggets. But the most important thing, I think, was like a game changer for them, for the soldier inside Gaza, was the ability to receive the drones, because the drones was for them, for the paratroopers, was life-saving, because it helped them to identify terrorists inside buildings, to get information in advance before they're entering into a house without risking the soldier's life. And I saw something, you know, when that was the first time they had the chance to receive something like that, and it's helped them. they had like a big fight with a few dozens of terrorists over there. They managed to be successful in that fight, and after that they turned to produce a short thank you video for the first donor who actually gave them that drone, and then for the other they receive a lot more after that because of that video was taken out. They showed actually how they use the drone to get advantage in the fight, how they entering into a house without to enter themselves, to get information, as much information as they could, and then to get prepared for entering inside the house and to manage to succeed in there and to take advantage on the terrorists over there. So that's a big thank you for all of you, all the donors, whoever you are or wherever you are. Personally, in my name, Rangolan, I would like to thank every one of you for whatever you're doing, whatever you did and doing, because it's very essential, very crucial for them. Don't stop doing that, because we are still in the middle of a fight, a big fight in Rafah right now. I can tell you that the challenges they have right now is regarding the equipment they already have or had up to now. The equipment they need the most at the moment, at least from our point of view in the paratroopers, it's like commando vests and bags, like the low Alpine 65 to 80 liters bags, because everything is run out for most of the part. And of course, the second thing in the level of life-saving or condition saving, it's the magnifiers, like the ones we managed to bring them from Meprolites, the vendor Meprolite, who actually produced magnifiers for soldiers, because it was like a game changer for them in the terms of fighting to long distances. Because we heard that the terrorists they managed to kill in the battle, they saw the equipment, not all of the equipment, but most of it. They use equipment like this, so it was like a big aha moment for me to say, wait a second, the terrorist has equipment that our soldiers doesn't have. So since then, I also introduced myself into Operation Israel to Ruiz, Madar, Adi, Shmaya, and we started to receive equipment for them, for the soldier. Of course, everything was documented with the thank you video for the organization, for the donors. So everything needs to be very straightforward, with a lot of integrity, to see that whatever we bring the soldiers receive it personally. So it was like very helpful. So I really want to say a big thank you for all of you guys. It is very exciting moments for all of us, actually, to know that we have people like you behind us, supporting and strengthening them up, the soldier. So that's it for me. If you have any question, I am ready to answer in this respect.
Thank you very much, Ran, for sharing this with us. Really appreciate it. The next person is going to be.
So before I introduce myself, first of all, I want to say that I'm deeply moved and grateful, because it's the first time I'm able to put a face to the people that helped me when I needed the most, especially Isabella. We've been talking on WhatsApp. And yeah, it's been tough, but you guys helped so much, and obviously the donors as well. And so thank you so much. So my name is born in Israel. I grew up in France, Paris. Came back to do my service in Duvdevan unit. I was a combat soldier there, and then I became a paramedic. I'm not going to talk about the 7th of October. It's a little bit too heavy for me. But I do want to say, before I go into a personal experience I think is important to hear, I do want to say that there's a reoccurring theme here about why should such a big organization such as the Army need donation in the first place? And the idea is that the Army is such a big organization that, and the bureaucracy is sometimes, it makes it less flexible than what is needed on the ground. And sometimes urgent needs of soldiers really can't necessarily be provided by the Army as fast as it needed at the time that is needed at the place that is needed. And so that's why I think there's a lot of value in donations and people like you that know where to allocate and how and when, and to do it as fast as possible. And so that's important, because obviously somebody in the States or in the world tells himself, why should I donate money to the Army? It's a huge organization. People in Israel pay their taxes. They have the resources. But again, it's the idea that the Army, it takes time, procedures, bureaucracy, and sometimes you don't have that time, especially when you get in a war like in the 7th of October. I received, so I'm a paramedic. I was 4 months in Gaza, in the unit, in the Brigade 551. I got injured there. I lost 40% of my addition and my little pinky. I didn't lose it, but I got injured, but now it's fine. And I received from you guys, I received a capnograph and a videolaryngoscope. Now, so why is that important? So I don't know if people know or don't know, but a capnograph is a small device that allows you to regulate the amount of CO2 that goes out in a tube. Now the Army provides small one-time capno, which are chemical, meaning that you can use it only once and then you can throw it away. Now the problem with that you don't have a continuous monitoring. You can monitor in a continuous way the patient. Now, why is that important? When I was in Jabalia in the north of Gaza, we stepped on an IED and we got injured, and I had to intubate, and so I did have the capnograph with me, and so what happened is that I intubated, and we put the soldier, a friend of mine, which is today fine and well. We put him on a stretcher. After I intubated, the first thing you do after you intubate is you check like all doctors know, you check the amount of CO2 that goes out from the tube in order to understand that it's in the lungs and not in the stomach. Because at the end of the day, if you ventilate the stomach, the person is not going to die from loss of blood, he's going to die from asphyxia, from lack of oxygen. And so it is very, very important to be able to verify that you intubated correctly. Now, the Army provide those one-time usable capnograph, which you put on when you intubate. They change color if you're in the lungs, meaning they sense the CO2 and they change color chemically. The problem with that is that the Army is a mess, the war is a mess, and everything is as you say in French, un bordel, and people move around, and you got missions and you got objectives that are not necessarily medical but operational, and you got to be able to move the soldier from one place to another. And so we put the soldier on the stretcher and we started moving in order to evacuate him. Now, after the movement, after we moved from one place to the other, I realized through the capnograph that I had, which has a small monitor that you could see the wave, the CO2 waves as you ventilate. I realized that the tube which I intubated went out. And so at the moment I stopped, I anesthesiated again. I did the laryngoscopia again, and I intubated again. And as it happens, I saved him. Now, my point is that if I didn't have this continuous monitor, I would have not known that the tube went out. So that's very, very important. I'm going to say that again. If I added the small chemical capno that the army provides, then it would have stayed yellow because it already got exposed to CO2. And so I would have not known that the tube is out. And so this is very, very important because obviously when you're in an hospital, you intubate somebody, no one, he doesn't move. There's people around, but here you're in the dark. It's raining. You're running with the stretcher, and you need to understand whether what you did is correct or not, and whether you save a life or kill it. It's basically this: whether you kill him or whether you save him. And obviously the impact is obviously on the person that gets saved, but also on the people that help doing so. I mean, there's nothing worse for a paramedic or a doctor, I guess, to know that you lost somebody because you intubated, the tube went out and you didn't notice. So this is something very important, something that happened, and something that I think is again not provided by the army. Also because I think it's expensive, but also because, I mean, you learn as you go through, and it takes time in big systems in order to get those this understanding. So capnograph, very important. Thank you so much, Isabella, and the entire team. I mean, I don't know where I would have been today if I lost my friend because the tube went out. It would have been horrible for me, and for him, obviously. Now, another thing, videolaryngoscope. So what is a videolaryngoscope? Laryngoscope is what is the device you use in order to open the mouth of the person while you intubate, while you insert the tube inside. It is important because you got to look and see that you intubate the trachea and not the stomach, not the. And so, why is it so important? First of all, because an intubation on the field is very hard. So medics or paramedics in MADA are used to doing it on the field, but doctors not necessarily. So we heard about the anesthetist before, and those guys are really good, but not all the doctors in the combat units are anesthetic. For example, in my battalion, in the platoon parallel to mine, the doctor was a gynecologist, and so I don't think he remembers the last time he did an intubation. And so the importance is that it allows people, doctors, paramedics that are not necessarily used to doing this on everyday basis, to be able to do the procedure in a way that is successful. Myself, I didn't practice medicine, at least I didn't practice anything for the past 6 years. I'm a master's degree in computer science. I have no relation to, I stopped working in MADA as a paramedic. And so, and the 7th of October, we went in, no question asked. You go, you protect your country, but you don't necessarily remember everything, and it's very stressful. And so when you have those devices that can help you, so a videolaryngoscope is this device that allows you to open the mouth of the person and to see with a camera exactly when you're inserting the tube. It's critical for people that didn't do this for a long time. I didn't do it for 6 years. The gynecologist, which intubated there in Gaza, had the laryngoscope, videolaryngoscope, and this is how he was able to succeed. And he told me there was no way I would have been able to succeed and do the procedure without this equipment, because I don't remember how to do it, because it was dark, because people were shouting, because I was stressed. And so those things, exactly those small things that make such a big difference that we do not necessarily get from the army. And yeah, and so I think those 2 points about the capnograph and the videolaryngoscope and those 2 stories, I'm trying to make the point that even though the army is a self-sustaining system with taxpayers' money, it's still a big system with a lot of bureaucracy, and we need people like you guys to help meet the demands of the soldiers on the field, especially when it comes to medical stuff that really saves life of the people that do the procedures, but also of the people that it's done on them, obviously. So thank you again for everything. And one small thing I want to say about sharing the video, I was hoping, I see everything that goes on in the world right now, especially in universities. And I was hoping maybe sometimes in my life to go and continue my studies.
We will blur everyone's
We will
face.
blur the names and faces
Great. Thank you so
before we
much.
share the video. We do that anyway.
Okay,
Yeah.
תודה רבה.
So yeah, we're very aware of that. So first of all, thank you so much for these stories. And I used to be a paramedic, and it actually didn't occur to me that, you know, someone who hasn't done it in a long time, they're out of practice. And I haven't done it in a long time. I don't know if I'd be able to do it now. So I totally get what you're saying, and that's something that didn't even occur to me with some medical background. So it's a very good point of view, and I appreciate it. Just a quick comment about what just said. We will share the video for this from this recording, but we will do that after we edit it and we blur faces and we remove redact the names, because we want to make sure that none of these folks and also the video is not going to be shared publicly. The video is only going to be shared with the specific list of donors and people that have registered for the Zoom and people that we know. We're not sharing the video publicly regardless. We just don't want to risk anybody's safety, but we will remove identifying information before the video is shared. So thank you so much. And we are going to move on to our next speaker, which is, and I'm not sure if is here or not, but I think Boaz is here. So let's move on.
Okay, to echo a point, it's actually really nice to see the panelists, and I want to start by thanking them. You know, Adi, I received so many packages with your name and address on it. And I have of course removed the shipping label, but what I was always impressed with, having been born and raised, you know, in the tri-state area, was how quickly materials got to me, because I could see the shipping date when they got to you. So it's nice to actually see you. A couple other thanks that I have to give, of course, Isabella, who would answer my calls in the middle of the night. Not always, I wasn't always maybe the most pleasant to deal with, but I really appreciate everything that you did for us, and how you helped us in so many ways. I feel like this is kind of my maybe like I feel like I won an Emmy or something. So I just have a quick list of folks that I have to thank, in no particular priority, but all of these people had a very direct, very impactful hand in helping us. In particular, Sayra Tanegev. I'll tell you a little bit about who I am and what we were able to do in a minute. But these people deserve tremendous recognition. I want to start with Dr. Amir Mendelsohn, who served an unbelievable part of this process, whose house I would show up at odd hours of the night, and who would supply us continuously, and who also provided tremendous medical knowledge. He is a pediatric trauma physician, and he was able to assist us in a lot of techniques. And I think he is owed tremendous thanks. I also want to thank of Columbia University, of which I'm an alumnus. I want to thank who apparently could not be here, who's a pediatric oncologist and who is the battalion medical director for us. Dr. 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 who was with us and one of the doctors in our battalion, Dr. And Dr. along with Dr. Whose house I stayed in when I had a couple moments of respite, and who also facilitated a lot of good, healthy conversation and knowledge transfer. I also want to thank 3 specific medics from our battalion and our commanding officer, his second in command, and like to also just give a quick 3 other thanks to people who really helped a lot, and that would be these are people that helped facilitate all the transfer of medical goods, and the people that I just listed were part of the chain of custody of either knowledge or material goods that landed in the Sayeret hands, and I'm forever thankful to all of those people. I want to just tell you 2 things. One is the story of a soldier named Dvir, whose life was saved because of the equipment that this organization and its donors was able to provide. And I also want to paint a picture for you of what it was like for us before your donations in this organization was able to assist. So before I tell you a little bit about Dvir, I want to tell you that before we started to receive equipment, external equipment, we were using saran wrap as a form of a tourniquet. We were also using marine netting for stretchers. We were using enemy-captured laryngoscopes and medications because we didn't have access to them directly. We were also using vinyl signs that we took down from restaurants and businesses and used them as stretchers. The state in which we operated in is very, very difficult to describe to somebody who has not experienced either mass casualty events at scale or combat medicine. But it was, as somebody who is a combat veteran from 2006 in the war in Lebanon, this is not something that I could have ever imagined. So thank you. Thank you for changing the tide and helping us in a moment of tremendous need. I'll remind folks that in the beginning of this, some of us thought that this was potentially the end of the world. It was a very, very scary time. And the people that I listed in the beginning and the panelists here really stood in the gap. And I'm forever thankful for them. So I wanted to just take 2 minutes to tell you about Dvir. Dvir is a member of our sniper team. He is, by all accounts, our most knowledgeable and most dangerous spotter. He lost both his uncle and his first cousin on October 7th. They were part of a quick reaction force that responded to a number of communities in the south, including Re'im and Ofakim, and they fought for 26 hours. They fought for 26 hours as a father and son with 2 pistols, trying to rescue people, and unfortunately they lost their lives. It was in that setting that Dvir participated in the war effort and represented himself and his family and his country. I shared some images with the panelists that hopefully they will be able to provide to you. We did receive permission to share them. Dvir was saved by really 4 pieces of equipment. 2 of them came from this very specific organization. So his helmet and his eye protection, as you can see here on the right photo, that's me on the most right. That's him. I'm sorry, it's a tough picture for me to see. But that's Dvir with external fixation. When that photo is made available to you, you will see that his helmet and his eye protection saved him. He lost his eyebrows, and you will see the burn marks around his helmet. But similar to Matan's story, he was saved using an EMMA capnometer, which is a very, very important piece of equipment. And he was also saved because we had what are called tactical gurneys or tactical stretchers, which are soft. And because this was a mass casualty event, we had 16 casualties during this battle. We were able to carry in excess of the number of required stretchers. And it was because of that we were able to not just save Dvir's life, but also save his arm. Some good news. Dvir is almost out of the hospital. Nearly 6 months later, this engagement happened in or just outside Beit Hanun in one of the first assaults. And he will hopefully become our spotter instructor for our battalion. So he will, with a lot of help and some time, make a full recovery and rejoin the unit. And again, this is really, really thanks to the pieces of equipment that you were able to afford us, and because of the chain of custody in whose hands it passed. And so on his behalf, on behalf of our unit, 6863, which is Gatsara Negev, Sayeret Negev, and composed of Sayeret Givati and Sayeret Rimon, and part of the 12th Division. We're very, very, very appreciative of everything that you did, and hopefully continue to do. And so thank you very much.
Wow, that is some serious story right there. So thank you for sharing that story. And I do want to say one thing, and I knew I was going to forget some really important people. So thanks for reminding me, Boaz, to mention Amir Mendelssohn, who is a doctor that's been really instrumental in helping us in Israel on the ground in so many different ways that I can't even begin to describe. Isabella can say more about that. So Isabella, why don't you take a couple of minutes to describe the work that you've done with Amir, and then we'll move on to the next speaker. You are muted.
Here I am, I'm unmuted. So Dr. Mendelssohn is a pediatric trauma ER physician, and we connected through him actually needing a donation for another unit, another medical unit. And immediately from the first conversation, I gauged that this is a person that has a wealth of knowledge, a love for his country, and wants to help. And we formed a partnership, and a partnership of vetting units together, discussing what equipment is prioritized, and had discussions on the daily back and forth about what could best serve our soldiers. And medics like Boaz would come, because the equipment would arrive to Smadar, she would count everything, and then it would pass to Amir, who lives 8 minutes away from Smadar. And Amir is our medical warehouse, and not only that, as Boaz said, a wealth of knowledge, and a kind and wonderful human being, who helped not only have people come to his house, just like into Smadal's home, to pick equipment up, but also shared his knowledge. And early at the beginning of the war, he was also going around and training people. So that's Dr. Mendelsohn, who's still active with us. And yeah, thank you for reminding us to mention him.
Our next speaker is Asi. He's with Givati. And Asi, the floor is yours.
Hi, good evening or good morning. I don't know what time you are staying in now. I'm trying to bring the needs from the Givati platoon. They are now the head of the aero fighting in Rafah with the 401 platoon. And Friday night, I got a phone call from very high level commander. He asked me personally, and I sent his notes to whoever needed it to help to get some breaking kits in order to provide the troops of the ability to create less damage with every effort to find terrorists. And when they are going underground and up, they are trying to create less damage and save more lives. How it works until now, they used to use some kind of a small bomb or explosive, and they opened a hole in the wall in order to get there or to get the door out. This kind of tactics just woke up everyone that was around. And with another problem now that we have, that a lot of the house of uninvolved people over there is not in good shape, which means that if they use even a small explosive, they can create a big damage, not just to the people who lives over there, but to our troops also. So what we found, not just now, like a few months ago, that the special forces are using a break-in kit. This is kind of electric machines that with some kinds of pliers. They are very strong and very light. They carry it on their bag. And I sent a video to Roy about how it works from the war zone. And they open the door very quiet, no sound at all. And they create much less damage than explosive. And when it's operated, sometimes missions are canceled in order to prevent unnecessary casualties, and in order to not cause a lot of noise and problem and not get too much attention. So sometimes they cancel missions. Now with these accessories that we can get them, these tools that we can get them, it supplies them the ability to go in and out very quiet, not to create lots of damage, take these terrorists out from wherever he is hiding, and go out of there without causing too much damage. And they're asking for 15 kits for all the platoon, which it will be divided to the teams. And especially now in Rafah, it is very important, because you know that everyone now is looking on our troops, what they are doing good or wrong, and we want to create much less damage that it is necessary. And he says that it can prevent a minimum of 25% less damage than any explosive that is even the smallest one can create now. So we are asking your help. I send an official document to Roy for this request. And I hope you will find it very important, and you understand that how much important it is during these days and from now on. Thank you very much for your time.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Asi. Roy, do you want to say a few words about the work we've been doing with them?
Yeah. Specifically to Givati, we provided a lot of equipment, like different kinds of equipment. Provided them like tactical equipment, like, I don't know, flashlights, tactical boots, and we provided them also with drones. And this equipment saves lives, and we want to keep saving lives. And this is why we need your help, the donors' help. This is it.
Right. Awesome. Thank you, Asi, so much for being with us. We are going to continue. One more speaker, and I see that you're here, so wonderful. So the floor is yours.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for the opportunity to present my perspective of thank you for everybody. So I serve as a doctor in 551 Reserve Unit. It's a Maglando Devan unit, and we were recruited the first day, basically the 7th of October, and we've been one of the first troops that got inside Gaza. So at that time, we were like it was a little bit of chaos. If you remember all that period that we don't have all the ceramic vests and all the medical equipment. But what we did what we needed to do, and we just like tried to get whatever we get, and just get inside. But the thing is like that. So when our I would say our character of our unit is like you take everything on your back, everything is in your backpack, and you need to just whatever you need to have it on your shoulders. So if you need water, you're gonna put it in your back. If you need food, if you need like I don't know, like change, if you need to. And you need to be very mobile. So you can't just like take heavy things, because you will be irrelevant if you need to let's say to get into terrorist house, or to run through threatened area. So you can't like be heavy. You can be like clumsy. If you get what I try to explain. So what we did, we were trying to do the big efforts to get things that will make us more efficient and more and lighter. So we'll be more it will be faster, and we can like be as an active participant in the battlefield, beside being like a medical troop. So what Isabella and Amir and all the wonderful people here really helped us with things that we used. It's like all the quick leaders, all the stretchers, light stretchers, and EZIO and capnographs and all these things. This was very, very useful, because we knew that we have all the equipment we need, but we still can be very relevant. We can fight, we can run, we can get into houses. We won't be like like a turtle that has a huge thing on its back. And this is very important. So I think this is if I get back to one of the speakers before about why we do need your partnership, is because the army do give you, I would say, good stuff. Let's say good enough stuff, but the army cannot afford like very expensive things just because they are more compact, they're more convenient to put in your backpack. but we do need it. I mean, it's something that we did use. A little bit difficult for me because it's just like looking around on the pictures because I wanted to show you something, and then I saw pictures of two of my friends that were killed in Gaza. Basically, we treated them until the last moments. It was Eyal Berkovich and Gal Eisenkot. They are the best. They were like what we call Tzemed Barzel, which means that they are together all the time. Everything they do is together, and God wanted them to go up together. And what happened in that specific scene is that we had this announcement in the kesher. I don't know how we say it in English. And
radio.
Radio. Okay. So and then we just ran there. It was like it took us like I don't know a minute to be there, and we actually used the things that we had. We had the quick crick and we used it. We had the EasyIO, and this was crucial. I mean, if we didn't have it and we used what we did have, what the Army provides, we couldn't have this IV access. Basically, it's an IO access. This is very important. This is very expensive though. So the Army will never, I don't think the Army will ever afford to buy so many kits for many medical troops. And this something it was a privilege for us, and not only for us, because all our team, all our unit, all our battalion, that's about, I think, they knew that we have the best medical equipment that anyone can ask for. I mean, they knew, they told us like a million times, you know something, you are so medugamim, that's a word in Hebrew. So we can count on you. We know that if something happens, you will be there. You have everything you need to. You're gonna do the whatever you needed to do, and it gives them power. It gives them like comfort. They knew that they have if something happens, they will have someone to rely on. And I took it personally. I mean, I don't know if you can see it, but a little bit older than most of my friends there. Personally, I'm chairman of department in my regular life, so I'm not really the youngest enthusiastic warrior, but I felt a little bit of responsibility. So my friends will know and have confidence that I will be there for them, and we will be there as a medical troop. And we felt that this was the case, even though we had a very regretful event. But we knew we did the best, and everybody knew we did the best, and it's like it's a game changer. I mean, moral game changer. So I want to take this opportunity to say great thank you for everybody for participating, for the feeling that we have, that we know that you, wherever you are on the globe, you are with us. You think of us. You know that we know that you can be there for us as a partners. I mean, we are in the battlefield, but you have the spirit to be with us, to be united. This is what we felt. This is what give us power to be united, to know that we have all the people behind us, and especially Operation Israel for their partnership. I think that's it from my side. I want to thank everybody for being full partners in this war, and Bezat Hashem will win them, and we'll finish the war with pride that we did the best we could.
Thank you very, very much. We really appreciate you being here. Thank you for sharing those stories with us. We have one more piece to watch.
Hi guys, how are you? My name is I'm from the engineering corps in the unit of the explosive, liquid explosives systems. What we actually do, we work by exploding the underground tunnels of Hamas. Our trucks is leading a huge amount of liquid explosive, and then we do what we do in order to destroy those underground tunnels. And here comes the part where I'm reaching you. First of all, to say thank you. Thank you very much, and thank you for just giving us this time by listening to me and probably others that Operation Israel has helped them a lot. Operation Israel helped us a lot from giving us flashlights that will work while we're operating inside the tunnels and in the dark. Also, they gave us very, very good shoes that helped us working also in the fields and also with the chemicals and the materials that we are stepping on, because the liquid explosive have chemicals and acids that regular shoes are it's eating up the shoes, and what we got from Operation Israel has a special material that is durable and resistible against those chemicals. On top of all, during the winter time, we got tents from Operation Israel that help accommodate our soldiers against the rains. Very good tents. Thank you again for all of that. And hopefully we will continue to work with Operation Israel for helping us with what we need for the continuance of the fight. The first thing that we all need, of course, is more flashlights, because as we are at southern point of Israel, as you probably can tell by the news where we can be at the moment. So we need more flashlights for the weapons. We need scopes to have that can work during night and day while we're in combat. Of course, shoes. We recruited more soldiers, and therefore our need is getting bigger. And of course, everything that you will see in some of the soldiers, but for example, they don't have uniforms, tactical uniforms, such as mine. Everything that can help us, that you can see that will help us achieving and gaining our goals. You're always helping, and hopefully you will continue to help. Thank you very much for that. And on top of that, thank you for Roy, that is helping us a lot and making sure that every soldier, not just us, all of those who he is in contact with, are getting what they need. Thank you for that. Thank you all for that. And of course, I'm Israel Chai, and we will win. Thank you very much.
All right, so we're running a couple of minutes behind schedule, so we'll probably be 2 to 3 more minutes. But just to remind everybody, they still need our help. We are still here. We're still doing as much as we can, and we can't do it without donations. So the donations are critical. They're still critical. Unfortunately, the situation up north is getting more complex, and there's talk about a ground operation there, and the situation in the south is not getting any better, and there's a major ground operation going on there as well. So we really need to continue to support them, and I hope that we can continue to do that. I wanted to just take a couple minutes. A few of the donors told me that it's okay to share their names, so I wanted to give a huge shout out and thanks for a couple of people, not in any particular order. So there is a mother and daughter pair that I've been working with for a long time, and I hope you're still here on the call. And they wanted me to read this message that they just sent me, and they're saying, "Mom is proud of all that you're doing. You have a room in our heart. We will always help Israel forever. We will make the donation this week in your honor, and we love you." So I really appreciate it. You guys are amazing, and thank you. I wanted to send a shout out to Yossi Nasser and the Nasser family for all of their incredible, amazing work for this operation, and to the Plotkin Family Foundation and countless others that have been so generous and have done amazing work in keeping this operation alive and allowing us to this right and this zchut to do what we're doing. So thank you.
ולא יזכר שם ישראל עוד. תהיינה עם חיילי צבא הגנה לישראל, שחרר בה, הקרבים היום למלחמה על אויביהם. חזקנו באמצנו, ריבה את ריבנו, לחם את לוחמנו. החזק מגן וצינה וקום העזרת לנו. ופדנו למען חסדך, אלוהי, שיתן בו כגלגל, כקש לפני רוח. כאש תבער יער וכלהבה תלה את הרים. כן תרדפם בשערך ובסופתך תבעלם. מלא פניהם קלון ויבקשו את שמך אדוני, יבושו ויבעלו עד היד ויחפרו ויורדו אחריי. אנא אדוני הושיע נא, אנא אדוני הושיע נא, אנא אדוני יצליח נא, אנא אדוני יצליח נא. אבא לנו עזרת תקצר ושב תשועת אדם, ואלוהים נעשה חיל והוא יבוש צרינו. עם הנצח ינצח, וכן יהי רצון ונאמר אמן.
So this was a recording from two brigades that were entering Rafah on Monday early morning, and I just wanted to make sure everybody sees it and share it. And we're gonna just recite a short prayer for the soldiers. מי שברך אבותינו, אברהם, יצחק ויעקב, הוא יברך את חיילי צבא ההגנה לישראל, העומדים על משמר ארצנו, והרי אלוהינו, מגבול הלבנון ועד מדבר מצרים, ומן הים הגדול עד לבוא הערבה, ביבשה, באוויר ובים. ייתן אדוני את אויבינו הקמים עלינו ניגפים לפניהם. הקדוש ברוך הוא ישמור ויציל את חיילינו מכל צרה וצוקה, ומכל נגע ומחלה, וישלח ברכה והצלחה בכל מעשה ידיהם. ידבר שונאינו תחתיהם, ויעטרם בכתר ישועה ובעטרת ניצחון. ויקוים בהם הכתוב, כי אדוני אלוהיכם ההולך עמכם להילחם לכם עם אויביכם, להושיע אתכם, ונאמר אמן.
Amen.
So we're going to take a few questions. And we thank everyone for coming today, and we really appreciate the time that our speakers took to really share all the stories with us, and we hope that we can continue to support these brave men and women. And if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask. I think we answered some of the questions that were in the text Q&A. If anybody wants to ask any question, feel free to raise your hand and we will open the mic for you.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
I didn't get the last thing you said about the Nasser Foundation. Can you say something more about that?
I said that we had several donors that we wanted to thank. One was the Yossi Nasser and the Nasser family, and the other one was the Plotkin Family Foundation that were instrumental in assisting us in this operation. And they've brought a lot of the other donors, and they've done tremendous and amazing work in supporting us. And they're just the ones that are agreed for us to share the names. There are others, many others. All right, I think we have another question. Stanley, I just enable you can unmute and you can speak.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Great. So when someone shows up in Israel asking for help for these supplies that you're donating, how do you know that it's really a legitimate representative, that they're not reselling it or using it for some personal use, and that it's not going to go to IDF soldiers? How do you verify that?
So we spoke about this a little in the beginning, but Roy, do you want to answer that? Go ahead.
Yeah, I can take it. So before we deliver even the smallest piece of equipment, we do a video with the video conversation with the representative, and we ask to see uniforms, to see a weapon, to see Hogel, like the ID card, like the military ID card, and we also, if they are in the field, we also ask them to show us their environment. We want to see other soldiers. This is basically how we do it. And so far, we didn't have, at least we hope so, we didn't have any theft from us.
So I mentioned this in the beginning a little bit, and I'll mention it again. We do two things other than this verification process, and we do ask them for ID, and we do ask to, to see who they are. At this point, we are very familiar with the units that are fighting, and we know who is who, and we know the commanders, and we know a lot of the officers. And when we get a request from someone that we don't know, we ask around. We find out who they are. We find out who knows them. We go to their commanding officer. So we do a lot of kind of in the background stuff to check and to make sure. And they also sign a commitment form that has their national ID number and their Army ID number and their name and their phone number and their information, committing that they will not resell and that they will not make any use of the equipment other than the use that it was intended for. And so far, we haven't had any issues. And hopefully we will continue to not have any issues on. We can't control it 100%, but I think we do a pretty good job in making it safe.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. We have another question. Sean is asking what items are the highest priority right now because there are so many needs. So Roy, do you want to talk about highest priorities right now? And Isabella, you have medical priorities. So let's both hear from both of you.
Yeah. So I don't remember the exact numbers, but we have them. Maybe in the next slide, I'm not sure. Right now, soldiers are asking for tactical boots. They're keeping us for vests and helmets, like tactical helmets, and also for tactical flashlights. These are the maybe the most popular requests, the most popular items among the soldiers themselves. Except for that, there are like new requests for equipment, which is not for a single soldier, but for a unit, like different mechanical tools, like the break-in kit and other tools that enable the units to perform better. I think that these are the most requested items right now.
And Isabella, why don't you talk about the medical stuff that's needed?
So on the medical front, I mean, the equipment is always pricey. Currently, we have a need for 2 cardiac monitors to have continuous monitoring of patients, specifically because we're expecting longer evacuation times if things heat up in the north, and also with entering Rafah. Hopefully we won't need it, but there's a chance that we will. We still need capnographs because the amount that we supply to the amount that is requested is what we supplied and what we're able to supply is much smaller than what is needed. We still need EZIOs for intraosseous access, and that's just some of the big things that are required, and things are probably gonna continue evolving as far as needs go. And as as this situation evolves. But those are the big things, the big ticket items.
And I've also seen more tourniquets and more portable stretchers. So those
Yes,
are the
yes, those are the small ticket items that are in larger quantities, but are cheaper, but also play a role. Everything plays a role from small to big.
All right. Any other questions? I think we are ready to conclude. So I wanted to thank everyone for coming today. We really appreciate it. I would want to ask you, I know a lot of the people here have already donated. You've given a lot. Please help us spread the word. Please help us share what we're doing, what you've heard here today, the stories of the soldiers, and share our donation link and help us continue this mission so that we can continue to help. Thank you, everybody. We appreciate your time. And if anybody has any follow-up questions, I think you know where to reach us. In any event, you can always email help@operationisrael.org. All of us are getting this email, and we will respond promptly. Thank you very, very much, and enjoy the rest of your day.